What is up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Camera Junkie live stream. My name's Lewis, also known as Mr. Camera Junkie, where I remind you to upgrade your skills before your gear. And oh boy, are we going to be talking about gear today. But before I get into it, if you didn't know, this is episode 166. You heard correct. That's 166 consecutive episodes of the Camera Junkie live stream every Saturday night without skipping a beat. And as always, I thank you for taking the time and hanging out here with me. Now, if it is your first time, please be sure to introduce yourself in the chat so you can get the nice Camera Junkie crew welcome. And as tradition goes around here, first thing that we do is actually go to the chat to see exactly who's hanging out with us tonight. And right off the bat, we got Michael in the house saying happy Saturday night. We also have Parker Jennings saying hello to everyone. John is also here saying hello. Mr. Paul Duncan is in the house saying hello to the fam. Everybody's saying hi to each other. Sly sneaking in here saying hey to everyone. JP's in the house saying howdy, folks. Hope everyone is having a great week. I'm having a great day. Today's one of those days that is just like monumental. All right, everybody's saying what's up to each other. JP says, been on the road for 12 hours. Wow. But slid in here to catch my favorite camera expert. Oh, so nice to have you here, brother, and I really do appreciate the compliment. Yep, Mr. Duncan is over here saying don't forget to hit the like button. Please do that for me. It's highly appreciated for everyone here hanging out. All right, and if you saw the thumbnail and you heard what we've been talking about and been in a bit of the know with me, you know what we're talking about. If not, well, today I was able to get something that is just, I really didn't expect this to even be here, right? To see that this thing is within the vicinity is just mind-boggling to me, not just because of the small amount of, devices actually available or said to have been sold, but, the fact that as a kid, this is something that I don't think that I ever expected that I would see the day, right? And this is just the first iteration, and I do understand that, right? But like, this is such far edge futuristic tech that I'm really excited for what the future is to hold. Now, I'm going to be doing an unboxing and I'm going to be getting into it. So to do that, I'm going to be clearing some space here because I'm going to be needing to remove some of this. So one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to move to a wireless microphone. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that on now. All right. And I'm going to hang that right over my neck. And we should be in the clear with microphone wireless audio. So I'm just going to move this out of the way. All right. And I'm going to pick it up a bit just to make sure that we're getting good audio. Now I have freed this up, but going back to it, right? I'm also going to get rid of this keyboard. So I'm going to run the show without it. Going to switch this and push this off to the side. All right. So now we have an open space. But to get back a little bit to the soliloquy, there's some people who are thinking that this device is on the pricey side, and I can understand. But I have been sacrificing a lot of other, comforts, right? A lot of other things that I probably would have been buying throughout like the past 7 months since this was announced, that I haven't really been buying cameras, lenses, or anything extra because I've been saving towards this goal. But even with that being said, let's just go back to the small amounts of VR devices or the Vision Pros, the AVPs that are available. So According to Apple's numbers, they're saying around 200,000 were sold in the pre-selling and so on and so forth. So if we take those numbers into, calculations, I went onto the calculator, or basically Google, and asked it, what is 200,000, saying that there's 200,000 of these units running out in the wild being actively used at one time. What percentage of 200,000 is of 7 billion, which is this world's population? And I was pretty astounded to think that it wasn't even to the 10th percentile of 1%. So it was less than 0.003% is the equivalent of people on this planet, on this earth, to actually have their hands on this unit. So that is something that it's not taken for granted, because I am like so excited for this. But going back on the debate of like the price for this, I cannot tell you the giddiness and the feeling that this device gave me just by putting it in the front seat of my vehicle and bringing it here. So, to give you a little context, I was able to go to the Apple store, and in my appointment, right? They were super cool. They asked me what I wanted to do, and I explained to them that I didn't want to do any of the experience at all. I didn't want to do any demos, but I did want to make sure that the fit that, that my iPhone took was correct, so that I just wanted to make sure that the fitting was good. So they brought out a unit to do a demo, but I refused the demo, and the only thing that I did was to make sure that the size fit correctly, and I tightened down on the knob, and it felt good, and I was ecstatic, and I was just like, okay, I'm ready to rock and roll. But I didn't do anything beyond that. So the entire experience is going to be genuine and authentic, and I'm excited to be able to record that, because like this genuine excitement is worth every single penny. Now let's just also, to give you another option, let's say you're not even thinking about buying this at all, I also highly recommend just visiting your Apple store and doing the demo for free, because this is something equivalent to like the best ride at Disney World. And that's what I could equate it to, because some people say it's like Christmas Day. And in Christmas Day, there's this anticipation of the unknown, right? When you're gonna get a gift and you don't know what's under the tree. So not only is it that you're in anticipation of something great, but you have no idea what it is. This is a little different in my eyes. This is something that I am invested in, and I know exactly what it is, but it's still going to be like magic the first time that I use it. So I equate that more to like a kid's first day at Disney World, right? And getting into the fact that he knows or has an idea of what it's going to be like, but the anticipation is so palpable that it keeps you up at night waiting for the next day. So that's the best way that I could explain the feeling that I got after I picked up my Vision Pro, because the excitement is like extremely palpable. I'm like I'm like so excited. So I'm so glad that I'm able to also share this experience with every single one of you, because part of this live stream and this hangout and this YouTube channel and this community, the Camera Junkie crew, is what has in one way or another enabled me to get to this point and be able to take advantage of this monumental and historic event, because this is like a moment in history that it's kind of like a fork in the road, whether this goes for the better or for the worse, right? We will see with time, but I can honestly tell you that we're all gonna remember where we were, so to speak, when this device came out. So let's get to it. I'm really excited to share with you the experience that I'm gonna go through in the unboxing of my Apple Vision Pro. All right, so I'm gonna move this a little bit more out of the way. Let's go back to the heads up shot. All right, and now I'm gonna bring it in. This is a big box, as you can see. Apple Vision Pro on the side. We have our information in the bottom. Now, I picked up the 1 terabyte model. It was an upcharge, but the whole thing is that I made a decision. It was like, should I get a fluffy pillowcase for the Vision Pro right now? Or should I, up the hard drive space? And seeming that I can have all the time in the world to pick up the travel case, I decided to go with the internals and put all the money into the unit itself. So, like I said, because of the checking and the savings, I'm gonna have to wait till next month, to pick up a couple of the accessories that I want to accompany with this. But Apple Vision Pro. All right, and let's get to it. It's like they packaged the whole thing there for you, because they make sure that what is going to be in the box is correct for you, and it's almost like they then close it and then they seal it with these aesthetically pleasing, like I don't know what you would call them, but like tear off strips. Oh my god, this is like, oh wow. All right, and there we have it. I am gonna tell you something. Let me see if I could. Let me do something here. I'm gonna go to the first shot, but I want to thank Apple for allowing me to purchase something that still has the size small equated with it, because it's been a long time that I haven't bought anything to put on my personal body that has been equated with the size small. I'm usually in XL, you know what I'm saying? So the fact that the size strap and loop that is required for my cranium over here is a size small, I want to thank Apple and give them a shout out for that, because it's just a little self-esteem boost. But here we have it, the Apple Vision Pro. Now, I'm gonna tell you the truth, people talk about the weight, but when they brought out the unit for me and I tested it out, I was able to put the band in a particular way that the weight wasn't an issue, and I could tell, and I was like, I just kind of know, I'm like, this is amazing, I'm ready to rock and roll. All right, so I'm just gonna push this back off to the side real quick and go real quick with the unboxing. This kind of like on a tray, so you could just leave that there, or yeah, right? And this could be a pretty good way to just, kind of store it and have it off to the side. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that. The polishing cloth that everyone's been talking about. Expensive, but particular to the Apple Pro. It does feel nice. But I gotta tell you the truth. Apple really knows how to make a product. They really do. And this is the emphasis that I want to say. The sewing game, right? People in the sewing industry, they better hope that Apple doesn't decide to start making fabrics and other things out there, because of the simple fact that any field that Apple decides to get into, they kind of end up taking over, right? They're just not only that big, but just that really good. So, to give you a little context, I was talking about this with my nephew not too long ago. Apple is valued at like $3 trillion, right? When it comes to like the evaluations of businesses and stuff like that, it's really crazy to think that just the division of Apple that is AirPods, just the AirPods division itself is a bigger company by itself than the entirety of Sony. That's like the level that Apple is in. So going back to that, I really hope that, like, well, the sewing industry and the fabric industry should really hope that they don't get into anything like that, because the feeling of this soft knit material back here is second to none. This thing is just amazing, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But I'm gonna give you another example. This is the bag that the Apple Vision Pro came in, right? So it has these little straps that feel great, right? They got like this mesh material. Let me go to the overhead, right? See if I can give you a better illustration there. Are we catching it with the focus? Pivot, pivot. Come on, focus. Too much stuff to focus on. There we go. Now look at this like woven material, right? It feels great. And I noticed it like when I was carrying the bag, that I was like, yo, that feels great. And that's just like Apple's attention, or OCD attention to detail. That's not the thing that I want to emphasize on. When I went to fold this bag, I was able to see this message here, and it's too like faint for you to read it, but it says circular knit handle. This, which what I was just talking about, made entirely from paper. And that's what blew me away. I was like, this is paper? Like, what? This straight feels like cloth, that if somebody were to make a sheet, or like a shirt, better said, out of that material, you would be none the wiser. And that's where I said Apple is kind of next level in every aspect that they do, that even their handles are made out of paper that feel better than a lot of cloth. So if they decide to get into the sewing or fabric industry, look out. We'll get back to it. All right. So the next thing, we have the light seal cushion. So this is just a spare light seal cushion. That's not the one that comes with it, but this one is, just to be explained, is just a little bit thicker, and it's supposedly give you a better like light seal. But at the same time, I just think is like, if the other one is not as comfortable, right? This just gives you more cushion for the pushing. So it's the W plus light shield, and it's got a feeling like memory foam. So that's it for that. We'll take out the important stuff. So we got the cloth and the shield. Now, what is this? Oh, this is like the book that they said. Not for nothing, it does look nice. For a, high quality paper and imagery. But I'm gonna give you my example as well on how to put on the Vision Pro, so that you could like wear it for prolonged periods of time without having to worry about it. What is this? All right, this is the dual loop band. So this is just the other one that you can use. But I think I'm gonna be using the solo knit band. I think it's just gonna fit better for my scenario. I'll get into that in a little bit. Where are we on time? All right. So we have our USB-C to USB-C cable. We have our power brick. Oh, it only has one USB-C. So this is the 30 watt, but I also have, oh, that wasn't supposed to come with it. I also have another one just like it, the 30 watt, but this is the one with the dual USB-C outputs. So maybe I'll be able to use that one just the same and then still be able to charge another device. Yeah, because this one's a 35 watts, so 30 and the 5 for maybe like an iPhone or something else, maybe like my AirPods. All right. And here we have the battery. Everybody's talking about how this feels, right? How this battery feels in the hand and that it feels like a premium device. And this is probably the thing that's giving me the most first generation vibes. And the fact that the entire feel of this brushed aluminum feels like the original iPhone 2G. The one with the black bar at the bottom, the one that had no app store, like the original, like the glass wasn't even complete touchscreen because it actually had like a black section here and then the glass was just started from the top there. This really feels like that. 3,600 milliamp hours or 35.9. But I already have plans to keep it backed up with my 26,800 milliamp hour battery. So these are going to be hanging out together quite a bit. All right, so let's take this out. And I think that's it. So let's go ahead and just put these books back in here. Mess something up? I think so. There we go. Okay. Gonna put this here. Gonna take this off, and we're gonna close the box. Wow, massive. All right. Apple Vision Pro. Never thought I'd see the day at all. Ooh, that's pretty. This music matches perfect with just this B-roll that's happening right now. FYI. Now, one thing, if you are handling the Apple Vision Pro, always handle the Apple Vision Pro, meaning always have it by the metal here, because this is all magnetic and it falls off fairly easily. So if you were to try to pick it up there, it would come off and it could be a bad day. But the same thing, it's all pretty much held by magnets. So you can see this light shield is just not as thick. So this is just the W standard. And this is the one that they tested with me and it was just worked out fine. The thing that I was more worried about was this size, because it said that I was a small. And like I said, it's been a long time that anything has been in the small category for me. So I was thinking I might be more of a medium, and I wanted to make sure. But sure enough, all the settings were correct. And when I put this on, it was perfect. Now, before I even, like connect it, I'm gonna go to the side shot here, not that one, this one, right? And basically demonstrate how I'm going to put this on correctly. Now, A lot of people have been putting the strap on, and the strap, they've been putting it like in this section here. So I'm giving you a good illustration. If it's past kind of like the halfway point here where it's sloping down, right? How do you expect that to hold anything up? So the same way that I would hold my hands up on my head here, not back here, but here, right? This area up here is where the strap should go. So putting on the strap first, keeping it up high, and then dropping this low allows me to strap this on, and the weight is being bared on the top half here. Also keeping the Vision Pro away from my ears, because I've seen a lot of people wearing it and they got this squishy ear syndrome here, right? Looking like orcs from, you know, Lord of the Rings, and that's not recommended. So already like this, I can tighten a bit more, but even just that little bit of difference, this feels phenomenal. I can honestly tell you, and it just, like Doc Rock was mentioning, this kind of feels like a football helmet, you know? Boom. So this is how I would recommend wearing it. Make sure that it's on the upper half so that it can actually support it going from like slipping down. Anything beyond that, all I think that you should expect to do is actually have it basically try to squeeze down, because you're already on the lower half of your face and neck. So it's kind of hard to keep things up when they're already slouching. Make sure you try to keep it like on the wedge side where the wedges are keeping it up. Helps to bear the weight. Doing okay. So, all right, now let me go ahead and check with the comments, because that's pretty much everything when it comes to this system. Now I'm gonna see if you guys have any questions, and how much time we just got. Oh, we're just a half an hour in. All right, let me see. Well, where I left it off was Paul saying, don't forget to hit the like button, right? Please do so if you haven't done so already. Highly appreciated. And then I see Jeremy sneaking in here saying, put it on. Well, I'm going to be turning it on because this is the whole thing. This, you can tell the expression on my face. I'm like super giddy and excited to start playing around with this, but I'm also going to be doing a recording. So as far as my first time impressions, I'm actually going to be setting everything up. So to give you an example, this is my main camera. This is my secondary camera. And then I have my overhead, which is this camera. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to dismount this camera here, and I'm basically going to put it over here, right? I'm basically going to put it in this space over here, because the main thing about the Vision Pro is that the setup that I have right now, right? As you can see, everything that I have here, maybe even give you a little bit more of a glimpse. See that there's even another screen here. So I have a screen here, a screen here, a screen here with the music, and right in here I also have my teleprompter, which is showing all of like the comments and making sure that my audio levels and everything are correct. So I'm controlling everything. I pretty much here am running a Vision Pro-esque type setup where I have different screens doing different things in different locations, allowing me to multitask with the amazing, you know, Mac Studio that I got. So with that being said, this kind of ends up being like hard for me to expand in the same direction. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be setting up everything so that I can start using the Vision Pro in this space, in this direction, right, on the outway, so that I could actually utilize the operating system to its max. And I'm gonna set up the Sony ZV-1F so that I can capture my like expression from this direction. I'm gonna tweak this one to be pointed more directly to me because I'm gonna be standing here, and then I'm gonna have this one giving me the other side angle. So I'm gonna be exploring the Vision Pro for the first time and getting all the like nostalgia, but I'm gonna be recording it after the stream most likely. Yep. Says going deep in VR. Thank you, thank you. Well, I do want to take, like some like when you say that you're proud of me, like this is something that I am actually very proud of myself. Something that um going back 3 years ago, I would have never thought I would be in a position to pull the trigger on the latest and greatest like leap in technology like the Vision Pro. Scott's in the house saying what's up to the crew members. Says watch hitting the robot voice on your RCP. You know what? Make sure that I haven't done so. Says great analogy with Disney World. Well, thank you. Yeah, because it is. It's not like, there's a surprise. I know what I'm expecting, but I'm just like, I want to be able to record my initial and my honest initial like first reactions, right? There's micro expressions and things that can't be said with words that will come out just emanating through my like vibration, and that's what I want to be able to record and be like genuine and authentic. That's why, like, the person at the Apple store, they were like just so surprised. They're like, "You don't want to do the demo?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "I don't want to see nothing of the device." And it's almost like tantric moment, so to speak, where I'm negating myself that excitement and just so that I can do it correctly, because I also want to document it for myself. Like I had said at the beginning, this is something that I only dreamed of words. But this is something that I could have only dreamt up as a kid. And to have that feeling, right? That feeling of like excitement, the way that I've had the entire drive home, right? From the Apple store, like just knowing that I'm like, that it's in my possession is just, I can't explain it. It's just such an amazing feeling. And just for that feeling alone, just for that feeling alone, this was worth the price of admission, right? And going back to another Disney analogy, like people spend a lot of money on Disney parks year in and year out, and on nostalgic, like memorabilia and stuff like that, that isn't gonna be anything, like as historic as this event. And nobody says anything about, like what they call them, the adult Disney adults, right? Or anything like that, people who are just completely into that, life. I used to have my annual pass holders, right? And not one time of me visiting any of those parks have I had the feeling that I had, like the feeling that I had when I was driving home today. And that's why I said this was absolutely, even if it was just for that, absolutely worth the price of admission. Just the level of excitement, I feel like a kid again. And if you are able to do this for yourself and you're able to get these types of feelings, then I would tell you absolutely hit the gas on it. If not, once again, I recommend go to the Apple store, right? Like it didn't take long. You know, you'd be surprised because the people who are like me who wanted to get their hands on it already have their hands on it. And there's plenty of space for you to just go kind of like a Disney ride, go there, sit down, do the tour, have the experience, and then you can decide for yourself where you fit or where you sit, so to speak, on this new form of technology. It says you're going to be wearing them everywhere. Well, mostly I have the plan to have it here because I was speaking with my nephew, and I saw him on Monday and we were able to get lunch. It was so much fun, but we just sat and we talked for hours. And I was talking to him about Oh, what was I gonna say? About like that. I found my track. So let me reverse it. I was speaking with my nephew on Monday, right? I gave you all the behind the scenes, so to speak, talk about that. And what I was referencing to him was that I used to have the Oculus Quest, and I used to have the whole VR. But then once Aiden was born, I could not separate myself, so to speak, from reality at all, right? To be in that world because I had to be attentive to him at all times. So it was so immersive, right? Where it just consumes your vision, and if you had headphones, you're completely oblivious to anything that's going on around you. And I experienced that using the Oculus systems prior. That I think the Meta Quest has, the some form of pass through, but it was why I wasn't using any of these devices. Now, this fits perfectly for me because I'm in the Apple ecosystem. So, it's funny to say that I never got into the Windows side, right? Or the, Linux side of the VR aspect. But almost like Doc Rock was talking about, like I'm almost thinking about investing in a Quest 3 for like an extra $500 just to compare it to this device, because I'm also going to be creating a lot of content around the Vision Pro. I actually have already taken a previous channel of mine that I had that was like kind of like not being used, not a priority, and revamped it completely so that I didn't have to create a new email account and everything like that. And now have created a new YouTube channel dedicated on everything about the Apple Vision Pro. I've been documenting my entire experience, which is also why I want to be prevalent on recording myself and getting the first time, expressions of using this device. So excited for that. All right, so John says, I think Lewis is going to figure out a way to run Ecamm live off this if anyone could. Dude, I got so many ideas for it because I saw Casey Neistat's video as well. And one of the things that he was doing was like he's trying to open Apple TV when he was on the subway in New York, but the applications are locked in space. So as soon as the subway started taking off and moving, the like the screen that he had placed in real time and just like space kind of stayed in its location, and he took off and it no longer was visible, right? So that was one of the things that even before he did that, I was already thinking that, I there was got to be a way to maybe like lock on or lock off, or switch the type of locking that these windows could do, whether they're geo-locked to your location, sort of like more like Iron Man, right? Where you could actually like kind of just put a clock here in my peripheral, right? And just lock it there in space so that it moves with my head movement and also moves with me from like room to room, so that it's a lot more functional, and to be having that ability to do that in kind of like maybe with another window, which is kind of something that I was kind of like imagining in my mind. That I was like, imagine that you're working on this system, right? And you're plugged in, but you just want to go get a coffee, right? You're able to kind of take your windows with you, lock them in your space, right? And still have like a FaceTime call as you walk to the Starbucks to make it as most functional as possible, if that makes sense, right? Because like if I'm on a phone call, right? Or better said, let's say I'm walking to a Starbucks. Let's paint the picture. I'm walking down the street in New York City and I want to go get a coffee, and as I'm walking, somebody calls me on a FaceTime, right? I pick up the FaceTime call and I have it in front of me. I'm still walking, right? I'm still moving. I'm still going to my destination, to Starbucks. Yet at the same time, I'm basically hovering this person, in real time, and we're talking. And I just like look at them every once in a while when I need to emphasize something that I'm talking about, right? And then at the end of it, it's like, hey, close conversation, and we're done. But if the windows are locked in real space and I walk away and they stay there, that kind of defeats the purpose when I would want a FaceTime call to be locked in real time, maybe just off to the side, so that if I'm doing anything else in my environment, hence walking to the Starbucks, right, I can pick up your call and to continue to be mobile and continue to be productive as I'm using the Vision Pro, and have the ability to walk and see my surroundings and not knock over things, because I have such a like clear vision of the pass through this device. Now, of course, Apple's actual vision is to have like just native glass pass through, and not have like a digital form of either persona, or better said, like eyes for the person in your surroundings. Um, because I actually think that, well, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, which is like Marquez Brownlee gave probably the best illustration of how the outside screens are going to be working for this device. But let's continue, because I'm running behind. Sammy's in the house saying hello to everyone. Mulain as well, he's hanging in here. Jim Monday, how are you doing? Happy Saturday. I heard that you're gonna be in town, so that's gonna be super cool. I'm not sure exactly when, but I think you're gonna be in the neighborhood, to see if maybe if there's a chance, that I get to meet you in person as well. All right, so we got Gretchen in the house. Says, oh, we will get a whole new view of you. Talking about the view in the personas, if you're not familiar with this, I'm just going to touch on it. The Vision Pro actually is going to take a digital picture of you, so that, let's say you do answer a call in FaceTime and you're wearing it, you're not going to see me from an outside view wearing the actual goggles. You're going to see a digital persona, an avatar that it kind of creates, right? Well, it just creates kind of like this front-facing persona that if you go to the side, it kind of like disappears. I already have like a vision, an idea of how that should change, meaning the same way that I did the scan for my spatial audio for my AirPods, where I actually took my phone and had it move to the side so that it can record all of my ear data. I think that should be the way that the scan should happen with the Vision Pro, because as it is right now, you're going to be looking at the device and you're just going to be moving your head, and it's going to create that digital persona, but it's not having like the actual data from the sides. If I can take my iPhone and create a digital scan where it's taking a photo of me and it actually gets the depths of the side, I think it's going to do much better, because I fear that my digital persona is gonna suffer from this beard, right? I think it's gonna take this beard that's like, full and all the way to the front, and I think it's just gonna smush it into my shirt, so that whenever you see like the side, is gonna look like this is just like darkness over my throat. So I'm really I'm looking forward to see exactly how my persona is gonna come across on this first device. But the thing that I'm also looking forward to is experiencing the flaws that this thing has as of right now, and then also seeing how they're going to be taken care of in a future update through the device, right? Where, just like I mentioned, if they just create an update and say, hey, you know what, now create a highly detailed, high res like persona using your iPhone, right, and using the outside camera, and you actually just scan yourself like this, and you give yourself kind of a reverse panoramic shot, right? Instead of you scanning outwards, you're kind of scanning towards the inside using LiDAR, so that you can get the actual true depth of it, and then get more like data of the side, so that this just doesn't go into nothingness. That will probably be the next level, the next step into the personas, making them even more lifelike, more realistic, so that you can move past that quote unquote uncanny valley type of vibes that you're getting with the personas as of right now. So those are just the things that I'm really looking forward to, right? To see how they are now, and then like a year from now, when a lot of these issues have been taken care of, like we can look back and be like, you remember how crappy the personas looked when they first came out, but now they look just freaking amazing and they're just next level. right? Because right now the Vision Pro, basically this is your only input gesture with your eyes. But maybe in an update we're gonna get something like multi-touch, right? Because I'm looking forward to things that we're not even like thinking about at the moment. And I guess that's just how my mind works, right? That if I can be wearing the Vision Pro here, and as I'm working, right, I can look off to the side and I can just do this in the air, right? And I can just expand in the air, and I get a window where I'm actually like zooming in with the camera, and I'm getting an amplification or magnifying glass of what is happening in real time in my life, so that in case I wanted to see exactly what something could be, right, I could literally like zoom into my environment and see, oh, that's like really nothing that I need to pay attention to, and just let it go, and then my vision goes back to normal. Like, kind of really taking this technology and the hardware that's built into this, and thinking outside of the box of what is being used for right now and what we can use it for in the future. These are just small little micro like ideas of all the things that are running in my head as far as possibilities with this said hardware. So, oh, Aiden, Gretchen is saying hi. Grandma Goose saying hi. Thank you, Gretchen. Says you work hard for your dreams. Congratulations, my friend. Yeah, because this is something that this was like a gift to myself. This was an extremely belated Christmas gift. But that's what I was saying. Like, there was so many things that I've been doing, and putting all the pieces in place, right? And still, like, I was speaking with the Apple employee, and I was like, when Apple says early 2020, whatever, right, in the year, it's usually like the third month, right? Like right before the end of the first quarter, where they can still say, yeah, it was still at the beginning part of the year, and it's usually in March. So I was expecting this to be more around that date, and not to be like the beginning of February and have this in my hands. This is this is something else. This is just something else. And all right, let's Jeremy, man. I'm gonna throw that there for a quick second, just because I love you, brother. Just because I love you. That's so funny. Says now you can visit Disneyland, in other words, from your studio. Yeah, the most thing is that I can work and have it ready for Aiden, right? So like the fact that I can take a glance down and still see my baby boy and not lose touch of him, and still have floating windows and things like that, I'm ecstatic. I'm ecstatic. And another thing is actually that, some of you know, but if you don't, I share this space with Aiden. So now I'm going to have a completely different level of control for both him and I, in the fact where I can say, you know what, Aiden, it's bedtime, right? And I can shut down all the lights, but even if I stay working with monitors, those monitors still are emitting enough light to kind of like keep him awake, even though I've taken all the sensory toys and everything away from him, right? And I put him to bed, it can still keep him awake just because of the light glow from the backlights. Now I'll be able to take my work into the Vision Pro, and basically it's going to be lights out, and all I need to do is make sure that the monitor from my Mac is being visible for me to work on it, and that's it. I don't really need extra environmental controls, because I'm going to be figuring out how to add my peripherals, right? My preferred peripherals onto it, which most likely is going to be connect those to my laptop. And once I have the laptop and I have like Final Cut Pro open or whatever, I'll just have that as the main screen, and I'll be using still these devices to navigate, and kind of just using this as my newest and best monitor, because of the simple fact that even if I wanted to, I don't have the space or the location to add like a 65-inch television. So a lot of things, like, I feel like this was made specifically for me, right? The complaints that people have that were saying like, oh, are you willing to ruin your hair every time to use this device? I'm like, I got a perfect haircut that I don't have to worry about if it gets ruined, right? Like, I was even joking with Paul, but I'm gonna see if I got it around here. I don't know what I did with it. I'll hold off on that one, but still, like, I'm just ecstatic for this. Just, I think you can see it on my face. Oh, Doc's in the house. This is. Oh, look at this. It says you have to catch Aiden's first response with those on. That would be amazing. Absolutely. And that's another thing. Like, the amount of spatial 3D video that I'm going to be recording for my own memories on this of Aiden. This, you know, like his first reaction to me wearing them for the first time. That's going to be one of them, right? But so many more. Doc's in the house. He says, be right back. All right. So, with that being said, now we're going to a part here, which is known by most, which is Cities God channels that I think you should go and watch. And this week's Cities God is the Waveform podcast. Now, that's what I had kind of mentioned before, which was Marquez Brownlee. And episode 210 is a great illustration of how the Apple Vision Pro's outside screens can be used and actually help to bring in kind of outside people, even though you're using a unit. So it makes, believe it or not, it really does make this VR headset less standoffish, because of the simple fact that once people on the outside understand a couple of the keys of what the lights are doing on the outside mean, then it's gonna make a whole lot more sense to what they understand that you're doing. So this week's Cities Got is the Waveform podcast. This is Marquez Brownlee, Andrew, and David. Basically, week in and week out are constantly talking about tech. And of course, with the release of the Vision Pro, the last episode, Marquez Brownlee basically wore the Vision Pro for the entirety of the show. And it was kind of, it first started out like a dare, like, let's see how long you can hang out with the Vision Pro on. But then he started seeing all the advantages to it, because when they started playing kind of like their trivia aspect, he had a Google machine right in his face that he started right away getting all the answers to questions that he honestly would have never really known the answers to. And the cool part about that was, it was then where it illustrated where what he was doing in the Vision Pro really changed the difference of the color of the viewing of what was going on the outside. So when you're recording a video, it's kind of like flashing a white light. When you're in an application or like Googling something, that's when you get that, you know, like Aurora Borealis, where I call the Aurora, right? The Apple Borealis, right? So their mixed color skew thing right there allows the person on the outside to know that you're within an app. So with just a couple of those cues and the people on the outside understanding that, while Marquez was just hanging out, they were able to see the difference of when he was like completely attentive to them, right, where nothing was going on. But then when a question was on, he was quickly, you know, like Googling, and within the applications of the Vision Pro, that people on the outside were quickly recognizing, like, hey, you're cheating, bro. Like, you're looking up the apps because I can see the colors on the outside. So it's gonna be, you know, I think it's gonna be pretty soon, like very quick, where people are just gonna start understanding the colors of the Vision Pro on the outside and really have a good understanding of what it is that you're doing. So, you know, people are gonna see that if it's flashing white, that means you're recording video, and that's gonna be like kind of like the new way. Maybe in the future, you know, like in an update, they'll change it from white to red, which kind of signifies more of a recording. Maybe you could just even hack it so it literally says, I am recording at this moment in red letters. But there's going to be a whole bunch of different possibilities of just what we're going to be able to put on the outside of these screens. But I'm still talking about this device. This week's Cities Got is the Waveform podcast. If you haven't checked out this channel or this podcast before, I highly recommend it. Marquez, Andrew, David, always great conversation. I enjoy it, and I've been listening to them for years now already, I believe. Yeah, so yep, this week's City's Gone. Channels that I think you should go and watch. And that is it. Now, once again, everyone, I wanted to thank you. I really don't have this set up so that, oh, this should have come off already. There we go. All right. I really don't have it set up, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start doing the initial setup. I'm going to record myself for the, like to document. And then at the same time, I'm going to be setting up my computer so that I can actually start sharing what I see with every single one of you. So I'm really looking forward to get that set up. And because I don't have any of this set up, including the phone that I'm going to use to connect to it, I'm going to call it here so that I can actually set all of those things up, record it, and then next week, I'm not gonna lie to you. Next week we're gonna dive right back into this, and next week I'll be sharing with you live what I'm seeing with Vision Pro, what I was able to learn in a week's time, and I can't wait to see all of your smiling faces as we do it all over again, right here, same time, same place, at the Camera Junkie live stream. Now we did it. This was successfully episode 166. That's 166 consecutive weeks of the Camera Junkie live stream without skipping a beat. And it's all because of you amazing people, the Camera Junkie crew, who make this the place where I want to be week in and week out. So I'm going to bid you adieu, right? Take care of yourselves and each other. And yeah, I'll talk to you. Look. Did I go back? What's going on here? Yeah. Okay, so yes, it came back. I was seeing the same messages. All right, guys. Yep, waveform is great. It says the expression says it all. Can hardly wait to see Aiden's reaction. It's gonna be precious. Yeah. And the cool part is that I'm gonna be able to send it to friends like Doc Rock that has this. And because I've recorded in spatial, he's gonna be able to experience it the same way that I am. And I'm just like, dude, this is gonna I'm so excited for this next level of technology. And if you're seeing this for the first time, now you know where to get the information. I've created another channel, but Camera Junkie style, there's going to be a lot of content based around this right here. So please be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. I see Michael's, everyone's saying later. Everyone, take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll do it all over again next week. All right? So talk to you. I'm like jumping out of my skin. I'm so excited. So see you all next week. Talk to you.